Hello.
While we let people in, why doesn't everyone let us know what state they're watching from? Because I know we have people from all over tonight.
I'm from Illinois.
Nice. We have Illinois in the chat. We see Texas, California.
Laurie Myers, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I'm from Maryland.
We have Maryland. We have Georgia. Awesome.
The temperature sensing crystal oscillator. Yeah, how do you know? I'll ask a question here. Oh, actually,
So thanks so much for dialing in tonight. We are excited to have so many Bark for Life interested people and some seasoned Bark for Life people. We see Virginia and Tennessee as well. We'll give it another minute, but this will be recorded. We see Philadelphia in the house. Um, this will be recorded, so if you have other people on your committee, in your town, on your team that might be interested, this will become a resource that will be shareable. Right, so I have two after I'm on. Suzy, why don't you go ahead and kind of kick things off and introduce yourself and welcome everyone into this awesome Bark for Life call.
Yes, thank you everybody for being on. We're so excited that you're here. It's a wonderful thing. Everybody loves bark, whether you've done one before or you're interested in starting one. Hopefully this will help you through. Again, I'm Suzy Lawrence, and I am the volunteer lead for the National Relay Leadership Team. And we have set up all these trainings, and we've got a group of trainers who have volunteer and staff that have agreed to do this with us. So this is one in our series, and we're very excited about it. It's kind of free flow. We wanted it to be open for you guys so you could ask questions because, we weren't sure everybody was along the continuum of bark. So we wanted to make it available for everyone. We've got people who have done barks and have a lot of expertise on the line who are willing to answer questions. They're going to share their experiences, and then we'll probably just open it up as an open forum for questions and comments. And maybe you guys can learn if you want to put in the chat, maybe if you've done a bark or if there's that you're new and just trying to find out information. So also, I think Nick will probably touch on this later, but there is going to be a video that'll be released soon in the training page on acsresources.org that Jess is going to talk about in a little bit. And it's really great. It's under 15 minutes and explains what bark is and how to start one and some of those things. So a lot of that won't be covered tonight because it's more general, and we know you can watch that video as soon as it's released on ACS Resources. So I actually have another commitment tonight, but I'm going to leave you in wonderful hands with Jess and Gina and Nick and Molly, who are going to help us out and kick it off. And I'm going to transfer it over to Jessica, and appreciate you guys. I'll stay on for a little bit, but I'm going to go mute. But thank you guys so much for being on.
Thank you, Suzy. Isn't she amazing, everybody? We just adore her and we appreciate all she does. And my name is Jessica Poff, and I'm excited to be here with you guys tonight. Bark for Life is something near and dear to my heart. When I've been a relayer for 25 years. I'm starting my 25th year as a relayer and started my participating in Bark over a decade ago. And it's just amazing to see what it can do. So excited to talk about that with you guys tonight. And my part is to show you guys a few of the resources that we have. So hopefully you guys are familiar with our ACS resources, and we have a brand new toolkit that is updated on our acsresources.org. If you go and log in, it's the same login as your Relay login or your Strides login or anything like that. It's your Society account. You will log in and you can access the toolkit. It also is going to give you the new updated logos, which have our new Relay for Life logo attached with it, which they're fantastic. The toolkit, it's a downloadable link, and it's actually just really short and sweet. It's only 5 pages. And within this document, it's going to have everything about what Bark is, how to get your Bark for Life website set up with your staff partner, the products, so everything from bandanas and things like that, registration and fee guidelines and suggestions, risk management, which is something that, as you guys know, as longtime relayers, something we need to take into serious consideration, making sure that all of our dogs are safe as well as all of our humans. And then it's even going to give you a breakdown of about how you might want to run your event. So whether your event is going to be 2 hours long or 6 hours long, it's going to give you an idea of how to turn those ceremonies and your activities into your actual Bark event. And the very last page has some more additional ideas on finding sponsors, maybe additional sponsors that you've never had to go after with in your Relay for Life. So like veterinarians, kennels, humane societies, things like that, and ideas for your teams to do fundraising. So again, all of this is under your Bark for Life toolkit at acsresources.org. And as Suzy mentioned, we have an amazing new video that Gina helped with that is going to be coming out. So if you have not had a Bark before, or maybe you want to get some more ideas or just a refresher, it's going to talk you through all the steps about what Bark is, how it was started, what you need to have in place, and how to make your event successful. So that will also be listed on acsresources.org, and we can make sure you get it if you can't find it as well. All right, I think I'm turning it back over to Nick.
Thanks so much, Jess. So as mentioned, we do have that video. It is made. We're getting ready to post it this week. I see in the chat we have people that are getting ready for their first Bark, or their first Bark just recently happened. Given that we're coast to coast and in so many different climates and in areas, that Bark might happen in April, it might happen in October. So there's no perfect time to get everyone together. So if something that is shared on this call seems so exciting to you, but you just don't know how you could execute it for this year because maybe your Bark is in a month or two, that's okay. This is just a spot. We've never had a national, maybe Gina would know. Have we had a national Bark call before the last 17-ish years of Bark?
We have done some Bark calls in the past, but we haven't had one probably since COVID. So we had them in, I
Yeah.
want to say, probably the last one was probably, 18, 19. We haven't really had one since. So it's nice to
So I know.
nice to be back talking about Bark.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that for some people, this will be the first call of its type. So we just want to get everyone together to be excited, to share about where their wins are, what they like to celebrate about their event, but also where the struggles are, because this is a group of people that can really problem solve and help those hurdles. So if you're on this call considering Bark, thinking about Bark, or maybe needing to, quote unquote, sell it to somebody else, by all means, please listen along. We have seasoned Bark participants on the call, ready to share their kind of secret sauce to success. But the kind of Bark 101 type of questions will definitely be answered in the video in case you do need to bring that to your local school, your local committee, etc. So I would like to kind of kick things off. I know we have a volunteer from Georgia who's been a Bark for Life volunteer for a while. So Molly, can you share a little bit about what makes your Bark for Life and your personal Bark experience stand out?
So I started participating in Bark for Life because we had a dachshund dog named Johan, and we found a lump on the back of his ear. And when we took him to the vet, he had canine carcinoma. And so we had a difficult time dealing with that, and realizing that our canine companions can get cancer too. And so that was the reason that I became involved with our Bark for Life. And it was a feeder event to our ponies Relay for Life. So I had been a participant in Relay for Life for Fayette County since 2001. And when they started the Bark for Life in Fayette County, I was very happy to be able to be involved with that and remember my sweet dog.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think that a lot of people on this line probably have found Bark through Relay, but I also know that many people find the ACS through Bark. Gina, do you want to go ahead and share a little bit about the kind of origin of where this all came from and a little bit about your backstory?
Sure. So I'm Gina. I sit just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Bark for Life was started in a neighboring county. I was with the Southeast region part of Pennsylvania and was the director of the department. So the staff person at the time, Maddie, and her Pottstown volunteers. The chair was Joanne McKiernan at the time. In 2006, wanted to do some things to for their 10th anniversary of Relay to really put, some different things out there. And so they decided to do a 5K run and a dog walk with the Rotary. And and now we know how big 5Ks are, but at the time, the 5K really wasn't taking off. The dog walk was taking off because a lot of our relayers and a lot of our relay survivors wanted to be able, they really liked the idea of being able to come out to a relay based event where they could bring their dog because they saw their dog as a caregiver throughout their journey. And so Bark for Life began at that. So then the following year, they changed it in 07 to become the Bark for Life. At one point in 06, it had Canines for a Cure for a couple of months, and then it became Bark for Life. So I've been a relayer for 27 years, but then have been, doing Bark for Life since it started in 06 at Pottstown. My dog, Louie, was a very solid fundraiser for a number of local barks in the area. So I do very much like Bark for Life. So I'm just very excited to be here and to be able to hear all of your ideas and to know that Bark for Life is making a comeback and we're sharing, and it's nice to see. So thank you all so much for being on. I'm so very excited to hear what everybody's Bark for Lives are doing, and to, like I said, to share and to network.
Well, Gina, thanks so much for your willingness to be part of it back then, because all of us have benefited from it in the years to follow.
We had some great, it's all good. I love it.
Does anyone well, you know what, let me just quickly share. So I'm in upstate New York, and I see one of our bark volunteers, Jean, on the call. So Jean and I have been barking together since we were both volunteers. I now am staff for the area, and like some people in the chat, our bark has gone through a couple different changes. We always were an April event. Now we are a fall event. We were always a traditional walk. And coming out of COVID, we noticed that, so many other things in the world had changed. And our committee was dwindling, and our support was, people love bark, but there's, to Gina's point, when this all started, fundraisers were a little bit more unique. So now there's so many different fundraisers. We really had to hone in on what people wanted to come out for. And last year, and I saw an event in California do something similar. We really honed in on a Halloween theme. We had pet contests, we had treats for humans and dogs at all the different vendors, and we really leaned into a vendor style event. An expo, costume contest, DJ, pumpkin painting, all things in the spooky season. And we went from having several dozen participants come out to nearly 200 spectators come out last year. So we're getting ready for our second annual Halloween. But I'd love to hear what other people are doing. What have you done to, recruit more committee members or get new sponsors? Or what questions do you have that maybe the rest of the group could help out with? So I see one person said that, yes, always check with your staff partner to see what your state allows. That could change county to county, state to state, year to year. We want to keep our dogs and our human participants as safe as possible, and make sure that they're on the right side of the law. And I see somebody asking, do you have raffle baskets? Again, that's going to, dictate based on state. Some states allow, I call it the R word. Sometimes we can't have games of chance without certain permits. So again, that's something to check in with your local ACS representatives, your staff partner. Maybe they're a remote staff. I know that Gina and Jess do support, have supported events across the country through our unified event support team. So those types of particulars you're going to need to look into for your local town. But I thought I saw another question before everything moved up. Oh, somebody said we added a human bark contest to our and I lost it again. I don't know if Gina or just let's see it. Oh, to our canine contest. So human barking. Delma, do you want to share a little bit about that? Maybe we lost them. I think it seems self-explanatory. So you had participants barking like dogs. So I love that.
We actually did that at our last relay, and we put it in the program as a bark contest. And when the people came up with their dogs, we explained that it was actually the humans having to bark, and it was hilarious.
I bet their
Yeah,
dogs
no,
look
I
at
love
'em.
that. Something I think we do have a lot of relayers on the call. Something I've seen done at relays to promote the Bark for Life is a kibble eating contest. We've had participants, we've invited teams to send a representative to join in on a kibble eating contest, and they'll ask myself or a volunteer, like, what is this? We're not going to really eat dog food, right? And I say, I don't know. We might be crazy enough to do that. You're just going to have to come at 7 o'clock and see, send your representative. It's bowls with Cocoa Puffs. But I will not tell them until they are there. And even when they're like, oh, it's Cocoa Puffs, I'll be like, it's kibble. I'll never say it's Cocoa Puffs. But we essentially have them eat as it's a small bowl full, but like a cup scoop, but they have to eat it with their hands behind their back, mouth in their bowl, just like our dogs. And this year we had a bark volunteer go to 5 local Relay for Lives, all within about an hour of here. And the winner from each event is coming to Bark to defend the championship. So there's definitely lots of fun ways. Delma can't get unmuted, but if you want to put it in the chat about your Bark contest, we'd love to share. I see another team has had a lot of fun raising funds with puppy kissing booths. That can be a lot of fun. That's a great photo opportunity, and also a way that the rescues might want to get involved. I know we have a rescue, it's called Out of the Pits. As you might be able to guess, it is a pit bull rescue, and they will bring some of their sweetest, most docile little fur friends that are looking for a forever home sometimes, and put them in a kissing booth so you can pose or get those puppy kisses.
Nick, can I just jump in real quick about dog rescue agencies?
Absolutely.
Just to not to talk about rules and regulations and different things, but wanted to bring that up because we do love having dog rescue agencies come out to Bark for Life, and a lot of times we don't have them pay sort of a vendor fee or a table fee to be there. And rescue agencies are allowed to come to Bark for Life. They're allowed to bring dogs to Bark for Life. We are not allowed to adopt right from Bark for Life. Someone can take an application and fill it out and bring it back to the dog rescue, but because a person may not be completely vetted by the dog rescue, or we don't know necessarily about that dog's behavior, we cannot adopt someone cannot adopt right from Bark for Life, but they can get information about how to adopt. But we do love the dog rescue agencies coming out and showing their adoptable dogs.
That's a great point.
I'm always about the rules. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a great point to bring up, because I think so many of us have had volunteers in the past, like, why don't you have an adoption clinic? Why don't you do this? And one thing that we went about 5 or 6 years without one, and the big thing was that the adoption clinics might not know what dogs are going to be available, or if they're going to have dogs that would make sense at such a lively event. So there's that aspect too. So A lot of things to consider when you're talking about dog rescues or other groups in general. My rule of thumb, I typically allow other community groups to come to events like Bark. They can recruit, they can promote. I don't let them fundraise if they're also a nonprofit, and many of the rescues are. You know, we are trying to fund cancer research, helping our human friends, and many times it carries over for our canine friends as well. So again, check with your I almost said local listings, like it's the TV guide. Check with your staff partner, check with your local, whether it's, you know, park or probably not a school. Many of them are you know, don't allow dogs, but wherever your venue is, make sure you're checking with them too to make sure that they're happy with what you're putting on. Can we ask them to advertise our events? Sherry, that's a great question. So are you talking about asking the rescues?
Yes, like their Facebook page or something like that. I just know the compassion for animals is sometimes more than our cancer patients. So that was my thought process.
Yeah, by all means, that's a win-win if they are, and let's talk about it. It could be a vet, it could be a fire department, it could be a rescue. If they're promoting our event, that's more exposure for us, right? And then for them, their followers, their constituents, their members are also seeing that they're involved in the community. So that's a really great look for them. So absolutely, your teams and sponsors should absolutely be promoting the event. We're not going to force them to do it unless it's part of some sort of, agreement. You know, we let you come if you post 3 times, you know, if that's how your committee is doing. But that's a great practice area of making sure that that we're being good partners in the community. Somebody says we also have vets come out and do canine CPR lessons and presentations on fur baby cancers. Yeah, so again, if that's something that that you can, you know, facilitate with your local connections. I know some barks have done like good citizens tests, a bunch of different things like that. Our rescues that we have come follow this easily, and we don't adopt out at the event without a home visit. Yep, that's great. We invite different local nonprofit dog groups each year to highlight and allow them stage time to talk about their group, 4 to 5 minutes each. Molly, that's wonderful. If your event has, you know, a stage and a program that could allow that, I think that's a great use of time, right? To give them literally to give them the stage to promote what they're doing.
I just want to add too, when we're talking about agencies, humane societies, don't be afraid to ask them for sponsorship. In my experience, many of them have been willing to be a sponsor of our Bark for Life event. They're a nonprofit, but they want to participate and be there. So don't be afraid to give them a sponsorship packet and ask them if they want to be a sponsor. Sometimes they'll even bring dogs to sign up as Bark participants to be in the contest to help advertise, you know, their facility too. So, you know, and if you're collecting dog food or things like that, that's a great way for your partnership with them as well. But just don't be afraid to ask them if they want to donate as well, because sometimes I think when we hear other nonprofits or we hear rescues, oh, we don't want to offend them. But in my experience, almost all of the humane societies and many of the rescue groups have been more than willing to become an actual sponsor of the park itself.
Yeah, because it's not usually a huge, Bark for Life levels are sometimes smaller than the relay levels. So to, donate, $250, 500, they get, some more exposure with that. And to piggyback off of that, I feel like when we ask, make an ask for people to participate in Bark, or, we should, present all the opportunities that are available to get involved, and they can choose which one works best for them. We can't automatically assume that they would say no, because they very well may say yes, or should know all that they have the ability to participate in.
Absolutely. I see somebody says hold a rabies clinic during Bark. I see we have sold Facebook posts to people for $25 for 2 posts on our Facebook page. We let our sponsors who do a certain sponsorship or above to put up banners. We have 5 minutes on our program. Love that. Location is a big thing too. We try to have a dog park available. Our event isn't in the dog park, but it's close. Those are all lovely things. Would anyone be brave enough to come off of mute to either ask a question or maybe brag a little bit about their event? I love seeing this in the chat, and I will keep reading the chat, but I'd also love to hear from you guys.
Oh, yeah, definitely come off mute.
Christy,
I
I
think
see your hand up.
Go ahead, Christy. I saw your hand up. If you can
There we go.
unmute.
There you go. We did our first Bark for Life this year. My community relay got combined with Tacoma, which is over an hour away. So my community has not done relay for many years. And I miss it. I've been doing relay 30 years.
Oh.
So I did Bark for Life this year. And we didn't have a lot of people, but we had so many interests from veterinarians, Humane Society. We had pet food places, pet supplies, all kinds of things, a pet massage therapist. We also had the Sheriff Canine Unit come do a demonstration. That was a huge hit. And our event was only 3.5 hours short.
I think that's actually like a perfect time.
It was great. And the sheriff was still there answering questions with his dog when it was at the end. But I'm looking forward. We're going to keep doing this now every year because we've had so much interest.
That's awesome, Christy.
Very nice. I love it.
Thank you.
So to answer Sherry's question in the chat about what does everyone charge, I think help off of mute and talk about what your event charges. Most are between I think $10 and $25. It's really great, I think, to look to see what other sort of dog walk events or other events in your community and to sort of try to go along with that price point. But you can definitely put it in the chat.
Yeah, I think that I'd be curious to see the chat of registration fees, and I was just asking when is everyone's events, because I know we talked about people moving timelines. We have always been of the philosophy it can't be too long of an event because dogs can't necessarily be out at an event as long as us humans and relayers. So we were always a 9 to noon event with a 10 o'clock kind of ceremony that had all the dogs line up and go on a walking path through a park. And if you did 2 laps, I think it equaled a mile or something like that. We would start things off with a blessing from a local chaplain for those that were interested in getting a blessing for their furry friends. I know that a lot of people, have done different recognition. I think we probably all play Who Let the Dogs Out. But I'd love to hear, what other people do for timeline and registration. I see somebody rolled their bark and relay together. So do a regular opening, then dog events, then relay games and such. We do $25 a dog with a max of 2 dogs per human. Ours is in November. We have pictures with Santa that we sell for $10 each. I love that. We charge $5 per dog per contest entered. $25 for the first dog and $10 for each additional dog in the same family. 1 goodie bag per $25 registration. Lovely. So yeah, you have to do what's best for you, but you also want to make sure you're not giving away too much, right? Because we know that this is such a niche event. I can share with you that I've been volunteering since I was in high school, and now I've been a staff partner for almost 9 years. And the 2 events that throughout the year we get the most calls for are the breast cancer walk, which is making strides, and that dog event, which is Bark for Life. I love relay. I came through relay, but when people are looking for something unique, Bark for Life really stands out. So we also want to make sure that we are, giving it the value that it holds, because it is so unique from many of the other events that even the American Cancer Society offer. Somebody says vets will gladly donate balls, leashes, etc., to give out and give themselves advertisements. April is our event. Our price is $15 for one dog and $20 for two dogs. Very nice. Somebody else says we charge $10 a dog. We have charged $10 for a person, $15 with one dog, and $20 with two. And we say that you're only allowed two dogs per human because we figure we have two arms, so you can hold two leashes. I know many people are talented enough to have 3 and 4 and 5 dogs on a leash, but we don't necessarily need that at these events.
Yeah. And that is an American Cancer Society sort of recommendation, that it is only 2 dogs per adult, so that you can, because yes, someone can say, well, I can walk my 4 dogs down the street easily, but to control 4 dogs when there's 35 other dogs around is sometimes a different story. So we do recommend the 2 dog per adult.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well,
Okay,
I am going to
oh,
be the brave person and say, let's talk about the uncomfortable thing with Bark for Life. Let's talk about cleaning up after the dogs. I know that locally I've seen a very unique way of handling this. I'd love to hear from you guys. Obviously, it's great in communications, whether it's emails, posts, communications, however, that, obviously carry in, carry out, clean up after yourselves. If your dog isn't a well-behaved dog, doesn't do great in crowds, this isn't an event for them. If they do act up, please, remove you and your dog for everyone's safety. But as far as cleanup goes, I thought it was wild when I first heard this idea. We had a husband and wife move from a couple hours away where there was another bark. And they asked if they could do a poop raffle. And I said, excuse me, I'm sorry. I must have something in my ears. Did you say a poop raffle? And they said, yep. And they explained it to me. And I said yes. I was still skeptical. And then I saw it in action. And now I always want to have a poop raffle. So they had a big metal bin at the park that the event happened in that people were already using to tie their little plastic bags and dispose of things. They set their table up about 10-15 feet away from that barrel, and they had a couple giant poop emojis that said poop raffle on them. And every time somebody threw waste into that big old barrel, they got a free entry at a prize. And what this couple would do every year is during Prime Day, they would get something like I don't want to say the wrong things to make your household go off, but those things that you talk to in your house, they might have a name that starts with an A or a G. They would get something like that, relatively inexpensive, and that was their donation to the event. And it really helped to ensure that people were cleaning up after themselves because they wanted to get as many entries as they could. So this could be a gift card. This could be maybe a dog wash. This could be maybe a doggy daycare voucher, something that you get from your community. But it was just a fun way of making sure that the venue was staying clean, but also to have a little tongue-in-cheek fun with the fact that, yes, that table and tent are covered in poop emojis. I didn't know how many things could come in a poop emoji, but they're out there. From hats to balloons to tablecloths, they are all out there.
Nick, we
Does
have
anyone
Lori
else do anything? Go ahead.
Lori in the chat actually says they do a poop raffle. So I'm not sure if she's interested in coming off or putting in the chat what they do with theirs, but that'd be a great firsthand experience.
And I see somebody else posts city leash laws. I love that. That's a great practice.
I was trying to come off mute. Yes, we've been doing the poop raffle for a number of years, and it does get people to pick up and bring it. I put in the program about it, and I said, I don't care whose it is. If you see it, pick it up and get a raffle ticket. Doesn't have to be your dog's. It's getting it cleaned up. So Yeah, we get a lot of participants for that, and I always make up like a nice basket of things, and I always put something in for the dog and something in for the human, so that everybody gets something. And people seem to participate, so it is something good. And then I don't have to worry about it because I go check everything afterwards, and everything seems to be good.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
Love it. Any other things to highlight from your local events or struggles, questions that the group could help you maybe brainstorm around?
One thing I always think is special to do is not only in the spirit of Relay for Life, but is recognizing our cancer survivors, but also taking a moment to recognize any of those canine survivors. So it's sometimes pretty special to meet a dog that is, a 10-year survivor or 7-year survivor, and to see the pride in their family members. So I think it just takes it one step further to remember that we're not only recognizing the caregiving qualities of these pets for many survivors, but also what the caregivers are sometimes been the humans who take care of their pets. So if you've ever done something special for that, we'd love to hear about that too.
Yes, the past 2 years I was able to find a canine cancer survivor.
Mhm.
However, the very first year, um, the pet ended up getting cancer back and passed just a couple days before our event. But I still had the person write up something, and of course she wasn't able to read it. I think I was the one that read it, but yeah, it was very emotional. But yeah, people seem to, I won't want to say enjoy it, but you know, depends on the outcome. But people really listen. Sometimes when they're speaking just about a person, they don't always listen. But when they're talking about your pet and the journey you go through with them, people listen, and they might even go up and talk to the person afterwards, and like, how did you find that? Or, because it's a little bit more difficult in pets because they can't tell you if they hurt or how something feels or whatever. So I've just started that and trying to find one every year. So it's a good idea.
Yeah,
Can
no,
I-
that's a great point.
That is
Can-
great.
Can I add, our main sponsoring veterinarian, big hospital, has an oncology unit. So we emphasize that.
Nice.
I was gonna say, our first lap that we do at the Bark for Life is always led by canine, either a canine cancer survivor or a human cancer survivor. So we try to do that, have a featured survivor.
Donna asks, or Donna says that she often gets asked if Bark for Life is for canine cancer, and I'm really excited that the video that we have coming out talks about that a little bit, but the short answer is not directly. But Gina, I know that you're going to say this way more eloquently than I am. Would you mind touching on that real quick?
Sure, definitely. I think it is always a good point because it is a question that we get a lot because it is a dog walk and you see, cancer in that. And we normally reply back that, Bark for Life is an American Cancer Society fundraising event, and it is, raising awareness about the mission of the American Cancer Society. And a lot of the treatments for canine cancer have come from the research of human cancers, so that the more that we can impact the research of human cancers will also then continue to impact the canine cancer as well, because a lot of the treatments are the same. And Selma said, and vice versa. So, we are funding the mission of the American Cancer Society, but then that does help, through our research, it helps, all of us as humans, but it also helps a lot of other animals, including dogs as well. So, but yeah, it is definitely a question that we do get a lot.
Thank you so much, Gina.
Sure.
Since we have our relay and our bark together, when it comes time for our Luminara ceremony, we have a special section of our Luminara for our fur baby cancers, our survivors, our caregivers, and I'm a pet sitter, so I always have several animals that have died throughout the year from cancers, and it really adds a special touch.
Definitely. And Pet
I love that,
Luminaria is
Doma.
a great fundraiser to do. And Doma, just how you said, having a separate area, I think that's also very pertinent too. If you do sell Pet Luminaria at your Bark for Life and you bring them to your Relay for Life event, having a separate area. I know a lot of us on this call, because we are dog lovers, I would not mind having, my pet's bag next to my aunt's bag, because in my mind, dogs are part of the family and everything, but sometimes people feel differently. So sometimes having those Pet Luminaria in sort of a separate section, and also that you can, decorate it and different things for animals is sort of nice too, because not everybody understands the love all of us have for our animals. So,
And I even have horses that are fighting cancer currently. So,
yeah.
it goes the whole gamut. Yeah.
Yep.
And that also helps bring in donations from my clients, because my clients are all fur baby owners.
Very
So,
true.
Well,
I
that's
love it,
a
Doma.
very good point too, Delma. So I personally do not have a dog. I love them, but I personally do not have one, but I have a cat. And so my cat Sprinkles, she signs up for to be a fundraising cat every year. So even though it's a Bark for Life, she's meowing for life. But we fundraise through our Bark for Life through her, because it's our pets, right? And that pet could be a cow, it could be a donkey, it could be a rabbit. But just like cancer does not discriminate against humans, it does not discriminate against our animals. And
Exactly.
so, even though this event is specifically for dogs, if you think about it, we probably don't want a dog and a cat coming and a cow and everybody to the event, but it does give people the opportunity, if they want to fundraise for their pet, they can still be a part of Bark for Life. My cat, we put a bandana on her and take her photo and put it up there. She hates it, of course, but we're very proud of that. I've had volunteers in the past that her cows, that was her thing, and she was like, "Hey, can I fundraise for my cows?" And my personal event, we do a fundraising calendar, so the top 12 fundraising dogs get featured on a calendar that we have donated and printed, and there has been all animals in that. There's everything from dogs to cats. Dogs are the majority, but just keep that in mind too, that if you have somebody that says, "You know what, I don't have a dog," well, that's okay. What do you want to fundraise for with your pet? And I sometimes joke too, like, if you don't like humans, that's okay. This event's for you. If you don't like animals, that's okay. We've got this other event for you. So it goes both ways. But yeah, just keep that in mind too. So just like your horses, there's opportunities for my cat and your fish and your rabbit or your cow or your donkey. We've got a place for them to participate with their families here.
I love that.
Hey, Nick, can I share something?
Please.
So if you're having difficulty with sponsorships, some companies don't have the disposable income to be able to give you like a $500 or $1,000 sponsorship. We've used the paw prints and the bones that ACS has been able to provide us and let them sell them at their businesses. And they've been a lot of our companies have been able to raise enough to get up to a sponsorship level to be able to sponsor our Bark for Life.
Yeah, those
So
make
yeah,
it
so
cool
go
too.
ahead. Yep. I was just gonna say, and if your area is able to get your hands on those, because I know some of those haven't been made in a little bit. I know that with our Relay Luminaria pinups, many banks, grocery stores, salons will sell those at their checkout. You might be able to do something like that in your Bark spirit as well. And I've even seen some local vets offices wanting to kind of do their own version and work with local printers to kind of do their own thing for like their reception area or something like that. So Molly, great idea, and thank you for bringing that up, because that is another way of them supporting us without writing maybe that big check, but they're fundraising in their office or they're investing in another way. So that's wonderful.
And if you're not able to
Um,
get them from your ACS staff partner, maybe you know somebody with a Cricut that can make some for you.
very
And
true.
one thing we've started to do, because if you remember in the old Relay world, we used to have cutout feet, but what we've sometimes done is we've just actually had that design, but it's just been cut on just a square piece of paper. So there are still options to be able to do things like that, as well as additional products. So just be sure to talk to your staff partner, and if they don't have the answer, they'll reach out to the rest of us. And we're like a big team. I know Gina and my team, there's a bunch of us, and we're always like, hey, does anybody have this? And the same thing with other products. Have these conversations with your staff partners, whether it be a feeder event for your relay or a standalone event that you guys are doing. We do have things like one time a year that we try to put in orders for different things like this. So don't be afraid to ask. So that way we can get some bark materials to you, help you with flyers, websites. If you don't have a website, we're able to actually help you get a website so people can register and do fundraising throughout the year. Just don't be afraid to ask those questions.
Yep. And we definitely can get, if you have a Bark for Life, definitely recommend having a Bark for Life website, because people can register online early. You can track attendance better. It operates on the same platform the relay websites do, so you can email things out to people. And also, that database stays from year to year. So, when you roll over to your next year's Bark for Life, you can email those past participants and have all of that information on there. So it is very nice to have. So, definitely, talk to your staff partner if they say, oh, we don't need a website. Yes, you get a website, because it'll show up on, search functions if you're Googling things. It's just a nice resource to have.
Well said. All right. Well, I see that here on the East Coast, we're approaching 9 o'clock. Does anyone else have any final shout outs that, something that they've tried and true in their bark experience, or any struggles, hurdles that you want to help help brainstorming?
Can I share a fail?
Sure, please. Yeah.
So we had seen on Amazon where you could do these mess-free ink pads, little things, and we thought, oh, that'll be so cool. People can put their dog paws and make a dog print. And we got the feedback that I don't want my dog to do that, because this is what I get when they pass away. And so that was like, oh, we had never thought of that. And because we were just thinking, oh, people like to have their paw print on a card they can do. So that was a big fail. So you really have to think through stuff. We definitely will not be doing that again next year.
Molly, thank you so much for being brave enough for sharing a fail. Something I've seen done along those lines is, if you have somebody that's a little bit creative, maybe a team, or maybe this can be why somebody comes to the event, taking some non-toxic, pet-free, like, you gotta really look at what you're using, paint or ink, and doing a few of them on a small canvas, and then adding petals or leaves. So now you're making kind of a little piece of art with the dog's paws. But you're absolutely right. I am I'm in a dog-free house right now. I have had 4, and you're absolutely right. I do have paw prints on their own that do signify the last day of having that pet. So that is a great thing for us to be mindful of, that we we don't want to trigger people too much. We know that bark flight can be triggering because we're talking about cancer, we're talking about pets. Those are two things that impact a lot of us in many different ways. So thank you for sharing that, Molly.
This past year we did something, because I always think of paw prints also. Along that line, we did dog painting. You get your little canvases, whatever size you want. And that's why we upped our fee a little bit, because we used that, we had to buy the canvases, and you put the paint on the canvas, and then you put that in a Ziploc bag, and then you put peanut butter on the outside of the bag, and then you let the dog lick the peanut butter, and then they're making a picture.
I love
So
that.
that's something you can do in place of it, of the paw print. And people seem to like it. So it's just hard to guess how many to get and how many will be there for sure, or if extra people will show up. So I had plenty of extra, so I'll be able to do it again.
Yep.
But and then I was worried, peanut butter, there's always peanut allergies for people and dogs. So we thought of another idea, maybe having like a banana, you can smash banana on it. And it can lick the banana off. So, try to accommodate others if they can't have the peanut butter. So that's something else. But yeah, they've turned out nice. I think people enjoyed it.
I love
I
that.
love
That
how
is so
mindful.
cool. I've also seen some barks have a dog or have a caricaturist there. And so they'll do for a donation a sketch of the owner and the dog together too. But I love that, Laurie, that's awesome.
And all these
So
fundraisers
fun.
are great ideas too. Just like you do these revenue enhancers for your relays, your bark event, you can have fundraisers throughout the year. You can have, pup crawls, work with your local distilleries to have a puppy night out, So just keep that in mind too. If you've got a fundraising goal, this is another way to spread more love about your bark through life throughout the year. But come up with some fun fundraisers that are pet friendly. And that way you can have those to feed into your bark goal too. Yeah, Pints and Paws
Awesome.
patio night. Yep. All sorts of fun things.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited that locally our bark is still over 2 months away, so we have time to put some of these into play. But for those of you who are already on to planning 2025, I totally understand and I'm excited for you. Gina says ice cream social in the summer at the local ice cream place. Love that. A yappy hour. I've heard of that, Lori. I love that. So at the top of the call, we referenced an updated guidebook and video. Both of those will be shared in the coming days, as well as the recording of this. So if you all, got a lot of value out of it, you want to share certain pieces, maybe you want to task a subcommittee or a co-lead or a friend to watch this to get their insight, or you're ready to kind of deep dive into more. We're sending all of those resources your way just by having signed up for this. We'll also post the recording in the national Facebook page where many of you saw it for the first time also. But Gina and Jessica, any final remarks to share with our amazing Coast to Coast Bark for Life participants?
I just thank you all so much for being on the call and continuing with your barks and revitalizing bark. And I think this is, the first of, many different things that we'll have. So I just thank you all for being here and sharing all of these awesome ideas. I wish I could just go to, every bark always, but, some are a little bit further away than others. But just thank you so much for being here. It was awesome.
And I
Awesome. And
just want
before
to
we hear
add
from
to
Jessica, will the chat be included in the recording? I don't know the answer to that.
sometimes the chat is recorded, but we actually will also make sure we take notes from this with all the different ideas. I'll make a point to note all those down so we don't lose any of these great ideas.
Thank you. And I know we also tried to verbally read most of the chat, but I know there were some images and stuff like that. So
And also just
awesome.
real
All right.
quick, if you do
Yeah.
go to the top of the chat, and at the top of the chat there's 3 dots. I think you can save the chat on your own too. And if you've got a Zoom account, it might go to your Zoom folder. Do not hold me to that. I just tried it, but I'm not sure where it went. So I'm gonna go look for it.
So what
So we
Gina
were,
is saying is she is our bark guru. She is not comfortable wearing the Zoom guru hat.
correct. No, I'm not.
All
Gina's
right.
awesome. Well, I will just say
Jessica,
too,
final words.
yeah, before we close this out, just thank you guys again, not only for your interest in bark and being a part, but all that you are doing for the American Cancer Society as a whole. Because if it wasn't for our amazing volunteers, and Nick and Gina and myself, we're all volunteers too, in our local communities. But if it wasn't for what you guys were doing, then our mission would not be happening. And so you truly are making a difference with every bark. And one of my favorite sayings is, "We bark because cancer bites," and we're going to continue to do that. And we are so thankful for you guys. And don't forget, if you are, I know there was several of you in this chat tonight that were brand new to bark. This could have been way over your heads, but I promise you that this video that's coming out and resources will help you every step of the way. And just reach out to your staff partner. And if you don't have a staff partner, that's where Gina and I come in as well too. So if you're in a community that you don't have a staff partner and you're wanting to start a bark or anything for the American Cancer Society, you can call the 1-800 number or go to cancer.org and chat, or contact us individually, and we will put you in touch with someone and get you the support you need.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here with me, and everyone have a great night. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you all so much.